Don't worry about if you don't fit in. The right people will be around you, man. And that's what you just gotta remember. Don't feel the need to fit in or do what people do, bro. Like, be you. Be you, because that's gonna carry, believe it or not, if you learn it now, it's gonna carry to your adult life. If you feel like you gotta fit in, you're gonna feel like you always gotta fit in.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I feel like I had to fit in, I would have never cared to even approach me about starting a podcast, because in my mind, I would have been like, everybody got a podcast. Everybody's already doing this. You know what I mean? It's too late. Like, I would have listened to something dumb like that. Come on now, what?
And you see where we are now.
Look at this, bro.
Because people always talking about it to this day. It's like, yo, everybody got a podcast. The market is oversaturated.
Yes.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Impact. 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 In fact, my hustle is intact. In fact, my hustle is intact. In fact, my hustle is intact. My muscle tough as the hustle, the numbers is just that. And I'ma keep winning and sit back. I love the feeling of killing them with that. Attacking the process, tackling topics, master synopsis. This the residual impact, yeah.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your man, Brandon Gio.
And your man, JaMichael Moore. And we are the Residual Impact Podcast.
Here we inspire others to find the greatness within themselves
And then apply to the community.
Let's grow.
I love it. I love it.
Back again, my friend, for another episode in the new location.
God is good. God is good.
All the time.
All the time.
Because this right here, I'm loving it. I think maybe next time we should switch seats, though.
Think so? Why?
I don't know. Just
you feeling like you need to be there and I need to be there?
Hey, I mean, why not? You know,
didn't we try that before and it just didn't,
we've tried it a couple times.
It just didn't feel right.
It didn't, but still, like you never know. I mean, maybe next time.
I think we should try one day to see how it looks. Maybe we here and we just have the camera facing us. Let's try a different vibe. Let's see, and let's just see how it works with the editing process. I think that definitely could be something different, especially with this new location, because we got options now. It can actually work like this. It's the first time we actually think about it.
You're onto something.
You know what I mean?
You're onto something. We could definitely do that for the next episode.
Think about that. So I think that would be something to try. So yeah, man, we just want to say, I just, definitely don't want to overlook the fact that, we are in a new location again still. Like, we still here. Y'all got to realize we got to move it a couple of times. So it's like, to still be here, y'all, it's definitely something that's grateful.
Hey, we've shot in how many locations?
Well, now it's what?
Where we started.
Yeah.
Then the Juice Bar.
Mm-hmm.
Then in Lithonia.
Yep.
So this is our fourth location, really.
Yeah. Was it somewhere else that we shot?
I don't think so.
Nowhere else?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Well, I think, we were supposed to shoot at the place that your lady's place, right?
Yes.
We were supposed to shoot there. We just never did.
Well, I mean, it's still open. I mean, it's still an option. Because, I brought it up because you always talking about how you be in Atlanta. Like, Atlanta, your city.
That is a fact. I just have to keep my material on me for us to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm there all the time. I'm at her place often. So, since I've been working a lot more, I mean, I only see her probably like once a week, maybe twice a week. Mm-hmm. But, I can get down there and we can record whenever. Until my schedule changes, because I'm sure it'll change soon. But, we'll see. Mm. But it's an option.
I love it. I mean, I'm grateful just to have the options available because, that's where we headed. I think we definitely headed to a place where we just going to have multiple places. You might not never know. We're going to be just pulling up. We just pull up, ready to record.
Yeah, man. And I think it's great to have that because we were once in a spot to where we only had one location. Like we didn't know where we were going to go from there. And, we had our very first guest in that location. You know what I'm saying? Flawless. He stopped by for episode 25 and, that was good times. And then next thing you know, by the time episode 27 came around, we had already been in Juice Bar and had, guest after guest after guest after guest after guest come through.
Yep.
So
we here now.
Look
how far we've come.
And don't forget, we going to be on other shows this year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get the chance, the opportunity to tap into other audiences, and I love it.
Can't wait to get on Flew Here, Grew Here. I've been watching them. They've been doing some big things, man. They don't think I be watching them, but I be watching them. They be moving. You know what I mean? I see what y'all doing.
Yeah, they always moving.
Yeah, they really are. Like I'm very proud of them, and I can't wait to collab with them. It's always just a good time. You know, I always got to talk junk to Chanel. It's just like a way of life. You know, it's not right if I don't do it. So.
Hey, that's true.
But yeah,
I'm with you on that.
I'm excited to collab with people this year. And I'm excited just to see. I'm excited for like us to get merch. I'm excited for us to have like different subscription type accounts and live shows. I know B really wants the live shows.
I really want to do live shows, man, because I think that that's a great way to connect with people. Like it's one thing to see your analytics and see that we have, you know, the type of audience that we have. For example, like I can just pull up our analytics right now and see. As far as the audience goes, now this is according to Spotify. This is Spotify only, right? Our audience is mostly male, right? It's 79% male, 17% female, 3% not specified, and less than 1% non-binary. And the age range is, let's see, it shows 18 to 22-year-olds. Like it's 7% of them who listen to our show. 8% of the people who listen to our show are aged 23 to 27. The majority are, you know, 67% of people who are 28 to 34. So those are our peers. Even though now I'm officially in this next group. Age 35 to 44. 15% of our audience, you know, is in that group. And then 2% of our audience is in the 45 to 59 age range. So, you know, it's one thing to look at the analytics and see who our audience might be, but it's another thing to be in person and actually get to see their faces, get to have conversations with them, get to know who they are, where they come from, what they do for a living, how they found the show, so on and so forth. And that's why I'm looking forward to a live show, because it's lit. You know what I'm saying? You get to connect with people in person. So whereas now, like even online, they know who we are, but do we know who all of them are?
Nope. No, we don't. We don't know who watches us and who rocks with us like that. I mean, we do know some people.
We know some people,
you know? Actually, a result of us being here once again is because of somebody who watches us.
Yeah. And if you missed that story, we talked about it last week on our previous episode 76. So if you have missed that one, it was a tough one, but it was a good one. So go back and listen to it, especially for you brothers out there. It's definitely for y'all.
Yeah, for sure.
But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and start the show. And first and foremost, I want to go ahead and say, if you guys are watching us on the YouTube channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss when we upload a new video. And of course, make sure you leave a comment down below, because we want to have a conversation with y'all. We know y'all want to have a conversation with us, and we would love to respond to anything y'all got to say. Let's chop it up in the comments. Comment down below. And shout out to each and every single one of you guys who are listening to us on the many podcast platforms, from Apple Music to Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Pandora. We're everywhere. So shout out to each and every single one of you guys who are listening to us on those platforms. Please make sure you go ahead and leave a review on your respected platform. Leave us 5 stars, of course. You know, that definitely helps to push us through the algorithm, so that, you know, hey, you guys love us. I'm sure other people will love us too. Once you leave those positive reviews, positive ratings, it'll help push us through that algorithm so that other people can discover the show, and that we can gain some new family members over here on this end.
Yep. For sure.
Also, real quick, I want to talk about sponsorship. As a matter of fact, Mike, do you want to talk about sponsorship?
No, go for it. You was ready. I can tell. Do your thing.
Bruh. Hey, if you guys want to sponsor an episode with us, please reach out. Residualimpactpodcast@gmail.com. Serious inquiries only. Sponsoring the show definitely comes with a lot of perks and benefits. Like, first and foremost, your advertisement, your sponsorship will go a long way in helping us to improve the platform, improve the show, because we can only do so much by ourselves financially. So if you guys want to go ahead and sponsor the show, even from a local standpoint, I mean, if you don't have a product or service or a business to promote, hey, y'all can hit us up on the Cash App, as Mike always likes to say, man. What's the Cash App, Mike?
No, I love the Cash App. Well, I mean, you could personally send me a Cash App at JaMichael.
Whoa.
But I'm just going to throw that
We're
out
talking
there.
about the show.
Yeah, I'm just want to throw that out there.
You just want to be greedy.
But if you want to, we accept Cash Apps at Residual Impact. $, of course, first. And, I mean, put your personal Cash App out there, baby. Look, B Cash App is Brandon Geo. All right, if you want to send him some bread, all right, he ain't gonna turn it back. If he turn around, I'll take it. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Hey, listen, no, I'm not gonna turn down any monetary donations from the people who tap into us. But I will say, if you want to support the show, for sure, make sure you hit up our
hit up the
our
podcast.
joint podcast.
Hit up the podcast Cash App, yeah.
$ Residual Impact, because that definitely will help us be able to pour money back into the show.
Yeah.
But for those of you guys who have a product or a service or a small business that you want to promote, feel free to reach out to us, residualimpactpodcast@gmail.com, or you could DM us at Residual Impact Podcast on Instagram.
Yep.
Your sponsorship will go a long way. It'll help the show, but also we will include it in an episode that is going to be up there forever.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And I would just say, like, look, I mean, this is just, I'm gonna say this in the most humblest way. Do it while we're at the level that we are at now, because there's going to come a point in time where we're not at this level and you're going to be like, well, you were only charging that back then. Yes. And that was for a reason. Once the exposure comes, once the level up comes, once you start to see more equipment, that means that prices are going to go up. So I am here to tell you that, hey, today's price is not going to be tomorrow's price. And there's nothing wrong with that, because as we level up, we have to level up everything else. So we're telling you this now while we're at this ground level, essentially. We're still building this foundation. So help us help you. And I think that we can all grow together. But yeah, just remember that price is going to go up, because that's where we're going. We're going up.
Price went up. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
So hit us up now while the price is the current price.
Yeah. I like how you didn't throw the price out there. But it is the current price. That's a fact.
I like that you brought that up, man. Yo, but for real, like, hey, yesterday's price is not today's price. And it definitely won't be tomorrow's price.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, because we're constantly trying to improve ourselves. So why would we continue to keep price constant? I mean, you do more on your job, you want to raise, right? All right.
Boom.
Shit like that. But anyways, we're just gonna go ahead and get into this topic, man.
Whoa. Oh. We're forgetting something.
I'm sorry. Before we get into that topic, respectfully, B, how was your week? My bad.
Well, gee, Mike, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, man,
Thank you for not forgetting to ask me that.
My bad. You right.
Well, the week was good, man. For those of you guys who know, who've been keeping up with us, I started a new job last month.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, I've been there so far for a month. There's some change, and I'm still essentially training. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not able to do everything that everybody else can do yet. And of course, there's people at this job who have been there 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 20 years. Wow. You know what I'm saying? I'm there for a month and a half. So there's still so much for me to learn.
Yes.
And of course, this at any job, like, it's not just this job, but at any job, stuff is constantly changing. Like we were talking about with the prices of sponsorship. Like,
yes,
as companies evolve,
yes,
operations at these businesses are evolving as well.
Mm-hmm.
Prices of certain things are evolving as well. Like, nothing stays the same. So even the people who have been at this job for 20 years, they're constantly learning new things as procedures and stuff like that change. So me being there for a month and a half, man, I'm still learning certain things. I'm still practicing certain things and learning to be able to get to do stuff on my own. But this week has just been nothing but work and training and, you know what I'm saying? I know I've said this before, but like,
yes,
our brother is back in the gym.
Bruh.
So with that, man, I'm training not only for my health and myself, but I'm also training for a new position at this job that I'm at, because all throughout training, the trainers are encouraging us to make lateral moves to different positions within, where I am. And let's just say that the sky is the limit. I'm not going to say what I do for a living right now. I know I've said it before in a previous episode. And if you don't know, you might have to go back maybe 1, 2, 3, 7 episodes and you'll find out.
Yes.
But there's a lot of opportunity where I am right now. And one of the opportunities that I'm interested in pursuing, you have to be physically fit enough to be able to handle the tasks that are presented to you. So a brother's back in the gym. My brother's working out. I haven't worked with a personal trainer yet, but I got a couple in mind that I will reach out to. I just got to get my bread up, so I can afford to pay a personal trainer at the moment. That's where the sponsorship will come in. Help me help you.
That's a fact.
But, just a shameless plug. But, for sure, that's pretty much how my week has been. And, definitely get into things, definitely get into the motion of things, especially with tax season being here, man.
Yes, Lord.
Ooh.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Yes, sir.
Help me, help y'all.
Bruh.
Man, speaking of taxes, brother, I got to pay them, so.
You owe this year?
I've owed the last 2 years, actually.
Wow.
Yep. Apparently, I've made too much money, but I'm trying to find out where it's at. Because I don't know. According to the IRS. So, we just going to make sure we pay them because they said I made too much money and they got to take some of it back.
Wow.
Which is wild. But it's okay. I guess those are good problems to have.
Hey, for real? Okay, baller.
I guess. I guess. I did hear from a mentor kind of mine. He did say he used to smile when he owed the IRS. He was like, because he wanted all his money. So if they ever was giving him money back, he was upset. So I just try to keep that mindset, which is kind of crazy because I'm like, I want some money back right now. But he said basically that's okay. That means you got more of your money than what you think. So
I like that.
Yeah, it's different, right? I never heard of that like that.
So I'll definitely. Well, I'm not going to frown when I get my tax return.
You look, I want to reap.
I'm not going to frown when I get my tax return, but what you said really is going to stay in my head. Like I'm going to look forward to the day. I don't even want to put it this way, but according to what the mentor said, I'll look forward to the day to where I actually owe these ninjas.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're definitely getting to the point where we're going to have different passive incomes to where I promise you, bro, money will be the least of our worries, man. I think right now with something that I did learn and I'm learning this week is that being broke right now is a part of the process of getting to what we want to be. It's okay. It's temporary right now where we at.
Yeah.
So I just been hearing that. So it's just like, man, it's a beauty in not having everything now because it makes you appreciate when we do have it. Like this is the lowest, if I got to be honest, this is the lowest financially I've ever seen in my life. But I'm like, I be thanking God because it takes my focus away from, I got to get this into like, no, God, like, okay, I'm trusting that you will make a way. There's a difference when you do that, when you got to be like, okay, I don't know how this going to happen, but I trust you, God. And it's like when you can find that trust and that faith in God versus money, oh man, I think God, he tends to bless you with everything. Because it's like, okay, now I know that you won't try to serve money. You gonna really serve me when you don't have anything. So I definitely do see the process of this, and I'm learning. So if you're going through it, I'm just encourage you to hold on. It's okay. You're gonna be broke for a little while, but broke is temporary. Poor is what you don't want to be, because poor is a mindset. Broke is just temporary. Like we gonna get money, B. We gonna get in the Ferraris. Every time we be back in there, I'll be like, yo, we about to be packing in Ferraris later. Like, I'm telling you, bro. And people be saying that, too. I forgot who was it. I think it was my barber. He was watching our videos, and he was like, I see how y'all got the Mazdas back then. I was like, yeah. He was like, okay, I can say later on y'all going to have probably a different type of car to show that video and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, exactly.
And I was thinking about that, too. When I was editing, a previous episode, I was, looking at us driving the Mazdas and pulling them parking spots. I'm like, yo, we need to do an updated version of that intro. We need to do an updated version. Granted, we're still in the same cars that we were back then, but
it's coming.
You and I have come quite a bit. We've come quite a long way.
Yeah.
thinking about it, this summer will be 3 years since we've been running this podcast.
3 years, bro.
3 years. So not only that, we got to do a lot of things, to update.
Oh yeah, another thing.
Yeah, we got a lot to update this year because it's time.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get somebody to like really shoot us doing it, because that intro we shot ourselves.
Yeah, we did. We did.
We shot ourselves, and it turned out pretty well. Like I liked it. People like it. Everybody, like you said, somebody saw us pulling up in our cars, and they see the vision. They see where we're headed.
Oh yeah, bro. Definitely, man. I'm telling you now, I can go places and speak about the podcast, and people see the work that we put in. I mean, even though compared to what we may think it's a small amount, bro, like people be like, dang, you really got a podcast. Y'all really have thousands of subscribers and thousands of views on stuff. Like, bro, what? We did something, or we're doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sorry from nothing.
That is true.
You know what I mean?
So, hey, I know we touched on it a little bit.
What up?
But aside from you owing taxes and the IRS and stuff like that, how was your week?
Oh, gosh. I love the IRS, by the way. I want y'all to understand. Okay. Outside of that.
Shoot, why are you playing? Listen, when I was jobless last year, I applied to work for them.
Oh, for real?
I did.
Man, did they hit you back?
Man, working for the government, I will say, is a long process. Yeah. So they've sent me emails, throughout the hiring process and stuff. And I think I kind of got down to the wire months later, and it was, I think they said no. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of jargon in these emails, so I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Just know that I kind of stopped paying attention because I got hired at a different job.
Okay.
So yes, I don't remember what their answer was, but I'm sure it wasn't yes, come on. You're going to work for us. Even the job that I'm at now, I got a lot of emails from them, and it was a long process to get hired on for them, because it was government.
Yeah, that's normally how it goes.
So
I actually just saw a job posting for the IRS. I normally don't see a lot of those, but yeah.
Yeah, they're hiring. And I heard it's a great place to work for. It's a great job to work for. But
they'll give you no discounts though. So
what would you need a discount on?
I need, if you can give me not having to pay taxes, that would be my discount. Or
listen, Uncle Sam is going to take his regardless.
I pay half of taxes then. What? Like somehow, some way, like how they give you a discount, like give me 50% off for taxes somehow, some way, like.
Huh?
I really want to know what are the benefits outside of like a 401k health insurance for IRS, because I need that.
Just know that either way, I highly doubt you get discounts, quote unquote, on your taxes, but it's government. So you're gonna have pension for the most part. You'll have a pension. I
don't need all that. y'all are just gonna tax that too. Like I don't need. You see what I'm saying? I don't need that. I just need you to take 50%. I need a 50% discount code that I can apply to everything that I do. I don't care about no pension, because y'all just gonna tax that too. No, I'm good.
But anyway, back to your week, man.
Yeah. Outside of that, I love the IRS, by the way. Love that. Gotta make sure we throw that out there. Bruh. Y'all can come on the show too if y'all want.
You're right,
man. But outside of that, man, we're still taking it day by day. A lot of good opportunities have been coming about my way. I'm in this process of I'm realizing that I have the ability to make my way, because kind of like B spoke in the last episode and how he talked about this when, we both in a space of where we're starting a new journey for ourselves. So for me, I am looking at these different opportunities that's coming across my path, because I am determined not to have to really, I want to just make my own income in a sense. And that does not mean not necessarily working for somebody else, but that means I make that way. So I try to go in with a mindset of like, hey, if I come in this place, let's negotiate. I'm looking to partner with people. I'm really trying to move as a CEO this year, and realizing who I am and the things that I work for and how valuable I am. And man, that's just where we at. So this year we taking it to another level, bro. For real.
I'm with that.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Nah, man.
Again, this was all your idea.
What?
The show.
Like,
the initial stages of the show.
oh,
Like you approached me about it, starting a podcast.
yeah. I mean, that was all because of somebody else. That's wild because it was somebody else that just saw me post something. So you just got to put yourself out there, and it's because of what you was already doing too, putting yourself out there.
That is true.
Just put yourself out there.
Because if I wasn't doing YouTube,
I wouldn't have been like, yo, I wouldn't have thought to hit you up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, dang, put yourself out there, y'all.
That was a great lesson.
That is, bro.
And I haven't really been clipping anything in a while because it's a lot of work. I just finished 3 podcast episodes and uploaded them as I finished them.
Congratulations,
a lot
my brother.
of
I just want to say thank you.
It's a lot of work.
No, it is. It really is, y'all.
Especially now that I'm back working full time. I don't have the time to make episodes, like full episodes, hour-long plus episodes, and cut content for social media and make videos for YouTube and Facebook and edit and upload. That's a lot.
So this is what we're gonna do right now. B's gonna remember. Actually, I'm editing this one. We're gonna use this as an opportunity to throw out a job opportunity for any of those who are looking into the editing space. We're going to open up the window for you to send in a resume, and we're looking for a potential editor that can take on some of this role and what we've created. And we'll give you all the materials that you need to start. We just want to make sure that you can come in with the skills necessary to sustain this job. And because it's time. We're growing, and we're only going to continue to get bigger. And editing, like B told you, it ain't an easy job. It is a job in itself.
It is a job in itself.
It's a job, bro.
Real quick though, what do you mean by we'll give them all the tools that they need?
Meaning like we give them the whole episode to cut up. They don't have to go come
Okay,
you know what I mean?
I thought you meant we'll give them the tools to edit on.
Not right now. No. Not right now. You know, but we will give you as far as like knowledge and things to succeed, but we want to make sure that you bring it to the table, you know, pretty much the editing skills and software to do it. So yeah, you're right. Let me clarify that. But I think this is a perfect time and realize, remember what I said, y'all. We still starting off. This is foundation. So and we ain't talking about you ain't able to pay y'all millions of dollars, but at the same time, if you can start with us and grow with us, then you'll be able to see the fruits with us too, I believe. So as we grow, you grow. But we just, if you're looking for an opportunity to edit, let this be an invitation for you. You can email us at residualimpactpodcast@gmail.com. Serious inquiries only. And I will put in the subject line, editor application. Yeah.
That works.
Yeah. I just thought of that, man. You just made me think of that. So we got to relieve B of some of this because the man got to sleep. He ain't gonna say it, but he got to sleep, okay? All right.
Listen, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. But to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. This time, I will say that you're right in that aspect because this job, man, it's taken a lot out of me, especially because you know where I have to go to work.
Mm-hmm. Lord have mercy.
Exactly. The drive in itself is long.
Yeah.
Eventually, I plan on moving closer to work, but that might be a little while. But driving to work and driving home from work, depending on what time I go in and what time I leave, because in this last month that I've had this job, I've had at least, I want to say 3 different schedules already because I'm still training. So yeah,
not the move, bro.
It's not, but hey, it's a start. Yeah. It's a foundation to this career, and it takes a lot out of me. Like recently, I was in a position of waking up for about 3, maybe 4 weeks. I want to say at least 3. Waking up every morning at 5 a.m. just to be at my job by 8. I would leave the house no later than 6:30.
Oh yeah,
because they don't play about being late. Like you can be a minute late, and they told us all the time. You won't believe how many people have lost their job because of lateness. And it's just like, okay, after hearing that every single day, I have to make sure that I get there early. So I'll leave the house no later than 6:30 to try to get there by, between 7:30, 7:40, be there at 8. Cool. But yeah, like in the mornings, be traffic. And coming home, if I get off at 5 o'clock or 4:30, hitting rush hour traffic to come back here. So it's a lot. It's tough.
I believe it, bro.
Spending a lot of time on that road.
I believe it, bro.
Then spending a lot of time at work. I don't really have the same time to come home and just spend a few hours editing. I'll do what I can every single day because that'll, you know, move an episode along. But lately, I guess I will say that that's one of the reasons why, like, one time we went 2 weeks without uploading an episode. Brother's tired.
Yeah.
So
that just means that it's time, bro. It's growth. These are good problems to have. So, you know, we just extend that invitation right there, and yeah, we'll talk. Don't forget, editors application, Residualimpact Podcast @gmail.com.
Serious inquiries only.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But to get into today's episode, y'all, we're gonna keep this one like I wanted to really keep this one simple yet informative and educational. But yeah, just I didn't want to do too much on this one. You know what I mean? I wanted to keep this. This is as if you look at this like a plate. We got what we need. We got our protein. We got a veggie. And you know what I'm saying, we may have a little extra side. You know, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's not much on this one, okay? But yes, on the first one on the docket, man, I don't know if you've been hearing about this, B, but these really people who have a lot of money, typically billionaires, they have been buying what they call bunkers. And for those of you that don't know what bunkers are, they're like essentially underground shelters. A lot of them was used back in the day to prevent, you know, when there were nuclear wars and things like that. But a lot of these rich billionaires, they have recently been building luxury bunkers. And we're trying to figure out why. Like, what's so bad about above ground that you're trying to get underground? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? And a lot of people don't know. And I just thought it was very interesting that these people would put so much money into growing something underground. My guess would be, you know, hey, you want to be away from the public. That's one of my thoughts. But then it's like my skeptical mind is like, well, is a nuclear war about to happen? Because why do you got to go tens of thousands of feet underground? You know what I mean? But it just says basically tech billionaires are buying up luxury bunkers and hiring military security to survive a societal collapse. And they help create. But like everything they do, it has an unintended consequences. So they're basically saying that, you know, we in a world today where social media and different things like this has pretty much taken over our day-to-day lives. And one of the reasons these tech billionaires are doing this is because they realize some of the dangers and the damages that they've done, and they want to get away from it. I don't know if you heard much about this, but what is your take on bunkers and, you know, some of these rich people building these underground homes?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I've kind of expected this. I kind of knew something like this was going to happen because I can kind of see the direction that the Americas at least are going in, or at least the U.S., the United States. And I'm not saying like I can see the future type stuff, but it's just like you look at history. History is a great way to essentially predict the future, for lack of better words.
Okay.
And I will say that certain signs have kind of like been up for a while regarding, you know, these bunkers and stuff like that. And not to come off like a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but I think like media is telling you or trying to tell us something. For example, I don't know if you've seen the Netflix movie. I think it's called Leave the World Behind.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it because I don't have Netflix right now.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. They kicked me off, so I ain't never bought it again. Even though it was my mama's, but it's
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at your pain.
No, it's all good though. You know what I mean? We just on strike right now. We ain't gonna buy it till we have to. So yeah, I didn't catch that one. For real.
But yeah, you know, I'm on my mother's account too. So
you know what I mean?
Hopefully, you know, saying I get to stay on that for a little while.
Just make sure you stay within the same. I think it's so once y'all on different IP addresses, I think they get you.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. I think so.
Well, they haven't sniped me yet, so
okay, you good right now.
I'm good right now.
You good.
But there's a movie on Netflix called Leave the World Behind. I think it came out like maybe a month or two ago, and so many people were talking about it, right? So much so that I haven't seen any commercials online about it or anything. Well, I haven't seen any commercials on TV about it, but then again, I don't really watch TV. I've seen Instagram ads, I will say that. But anyway, so many people were talking about it that my girl was just like, hey, let's watch it. So we watched it together, and the ending sucked. And that was one common thing that so many people who watched that movie said. Like, there's one thing that they mentioned. It's like, I will never get the amount of time back that that it took me to watch this movie. I'll never get that back. I'll never get that time back at all. But if you haven't seen the movie, too bad, so sad. Well, actually, let me not say that. I will say spoiler warnings ahead, even though this movie has been out for at least a month. But at the end, well, I won't even say the end. Let's just say that there was a part of the movie where the idea of underground bunkers was mentioned. And this was one that was built under somebody's home. And for those of you guys who weren't paying attention, this movie was produced. I think it was executively produced by Barack and Michelle Obama. So a former president and a former first lady, you would think that they kind of know what's going on behind the scenes, right? President had access to a whole bunch of things that we don't have access to as normal everyday civilians. You know, the man once controlled nuclear codes. So I'm sure he knows about a lot of what's going on in the world, especially what's going on in the country. So, yeah, like there's this movie that they executive produced, and a real common theme, common factor in this movie was about underground bunkers, because essentially the world kind of like lost its mind. Well, I won't say the world. I will say the United States. So I'll put it that way. And I personally think they were trying to tell us something.
I mean, I definitely think that there's something there, because you can't tell me somebody with billions of dollars who has different financial advisors, different people around them that have privy to opportunities and people who have information. You can't tell me that they don't know something. So I do think there is something there. I mean, regardless of matter, my faith is in God. I don't really worry, but I find it interesting. I mean, I don't know if you saw Rick Ross say he getting into the mix too.
Yeah, I saw that.
He said we building bunkers too.
What's one of the boss's moves that you pulling off? And I said, matter of fact, I haven't said this yet, but I want to give a salute to Caterpillar. We breaking ground. I'm excavating. It's going down. Y'all know how I love real estate, and I usually like to build and go up. We going underground now. One time for all my doomsday preppers. Elon Musk, I see you. I saw your ground plans. I'm impressed, but guess what? My bunker gonna have a garage. My bunker gonna have wings. Huh? Yeah, we breaking ground. Huge excavations. You gotta have your fluids. I got a water maker, a machine that makes water out of H2O. I got a water maker. We got our canned goods. So if you're thinking the brothers ain't ready, we ready.
So I do think there's something there. And like you said, the movie, right? That's kind of interesting, bro. And there was another movie on Netflix too that often caught my attention. I don't know if you ever saw a movie called, it was a while back, it's called Don't Look Up.
Doesn't sound familiar. No.
It just spoke about like being everybody like on their phones and stuff like that, and how the world was the world around them was collapsing, but people were so distracted by social media and different things like that they didn't see it. And the world kind of went in chaos and stuff like that. So to me, this kind of was around something similar to that. I just think that's where we at. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I just find it interesting, man. You put all your money into going underground. What you know.
And I know this is not something that you plan to talk about, so I won't spend too much time on it, but it just reminds me of a post that I saw recently from a friend of the show. Shout out to Will to Create Entertainment. Not too long ago, he posted something about, I want to say it was Saudi Arabia joining the BRICS nation. Have you heard about what's going on outside of the United States? What's BRICS?
No, I've heard about some of those things like that. Some of these other countries they are aligning and ditching the U.S. dollar. I do know about some of those things that are going about, and we'll see. To me, there's always been talks about this stuff. So I think that now with social media, it just makes it more magnified, or it makes it seem a little bit more grand than what it is. But a lot of the stuff has always been happening.
Yeah. And that's the crazy part, because so much stuff happens behind the scenes that we know nothing about until it slaps us in the face. Even when people are out there trying to warn us about it, we may not be paying attention because we're so distracted by other things. So again, shout out to Will. He posted this on February 3rd, and the post reads, Saudi Arabia has officially joined BRICS. So BRICS is spelled BRICS. Off the top of my head, I believe that's Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, and South Africa. All right. Correct me if I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen, but I believe that's what BRICS stands for. But it also says that Saudi Arabia is one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Egypt, Ethiopia, and Iran also joined as well. The plan for BRICS is to officially ditch the U.S. dollar. So that's what the BRICS nation is doing. Mm-hmm. So maybe I got the first I right. I think I said Iran, but I think the I in BRICS, maybe Iraq. Iraq is how you pronounce it correctly. But I know the B and the R are Brazil and Russia, and the C is China for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and these countries outside of the U.S. are really joining forces to threaten the U.S. dollar and weaken the U.S. dollar. So, hey, that article that we were talking about, where it mentioned these billionaires building bunkers underground and financial collapse, like, wow, that's, I don't know, maybe the two have something going hand in hand.
Oh, possibly. I mean, I do know that when something happens, it has a equal opposite reaction to something else. So I definitely think that all of this in some way correlates to one another. So yeah, I wouldn't take it for granted if it does, But yeah, I've heard of that too, about them trying to ditch the dollar. I do think that it's going to take a while, but in general, if you're paying attention to just the swing of things, first and foremost, everything is going into the direction of digital. So I'm not a financial advisor, but I would recommend a lot of people find some way to get into digital currency, invest your money somewhere there. But yeah, I think that the way the world is going, we just need to be mindful of certain things and educate ourselves and start a business, start something of yourself, because
yeah, please just prepare. I mean, do as much as you can now, because you don't want to get caught off guard by this stuff. So again, neither one of us are financial advisors. None of the stuff that we're actually talking about is like a conspiracy theory. Like, this is stuff that's going on in the world that you may not have heard about. Mm-hmm. And if you have heard about it, maybe you haven't really paid much attention to it. But this is stuff that's going on outside of the United States. And too many of us are just being distracted by social media and other things like celebrity gossip to like really, really pay attention to it.
Yeah. I think somebody shared a statistic with me. I'm not sure how true of it is, but it was just a statistic. They said that when at the end of the year, if you don't pay attention, the average person is on social media for about a month of their life. So you take out a month, that's how much you are on social media for, literally. So think about every single day out of 31 days, they're basically saying for 24 hours you're on social media when it adds up at the end of the year. So just think about that statistic, man, and just, realize that that's what these tech companies become billionaires for, is because they have your attention. If they got a month out of everyone's year, wow, That's
And
pretty
just
amazing.
thinking about it, I think there's something along the lines of like 300 million people in the United States of America.
Yeah.
You know, so if they got at least 1 month out of all of us,
Yeah.
that's like 300 million plus months.
You got to think about it. I mean, that's just, that's us and more people that's coming. But a lot of these people and children, bro, they're getting indoctrinated into the social media world and technology. They're born into it. That's all they know. So we got to be careful, man. And I think that's one of the reasons why in recent news, Mark Zuckerberg, he was put on trial because of, you have a lot of these families who've experienced different deaths from their kids because of being exposed to social media at such an early age. There was a particular story of a young man who took his own life. Well, he got into fentanyl. He apparently got in touch with somebody through Snapchat, and they got him fentanyl. His parents didn't know anything about it, and they found their son, deceased. And one of the reasons why was because of social media. Now, granted, I do believe that the family and the parents are responsible for what their kids are watching or what they have access to. But these tech billionaires, they have a responsibility to make sure that some of these things aren't being used on their platform. And that was one of the things that these people were calling out Mark Zuckerberg for, is because there's been so many cases of kids missing, kids dying, about bullying, and all these different things happening. And nothing is happening for the platform except them making more money. And they're realizing, like, okay, yo, something got to change. I think me and you we're using social media, but we trying not to let social media use us. And I think that comes from us growing up in an age where we didn't necessarily have it. We grew into social media, so it's like, okay, we get on it, but we also can get off and go outside.
Yeah.
But some of these kids, they don't know that. You don't see no kids outside like that.
I know we talked about it in episode 70 and 71. How, like you just said, we're essentially a hybrid. Like we were there when social media didn't exist. Mm-hmm. We were also there during the introduction of social media. Yep. Like one of the earliest social media platforms that we know of off the top of our head is MySpace. Yeah. I was in high school, I think, when MySpace came out. And after that, of course, in popularity wise anyway, Facebook was next, then Instagram. And of course, you had the introduction of Snapchat. Before that, I think before Instagram was Twitter. Yeah. So MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, then Instagram, then Snapchat, TikTok. Nope, scratch that. Vine. I forgot about Vine.
Do it for the Vine. Do it for the Vine.
I ain't gonna do it. But yeah, Vine. Vine walked so that TikTok could run. Wow. Actually, Vine walked so that TikTok could take off. Like, really take the freak off, because Vine was 6-second videos. TikTok, you can do up to like 10-minute videos.
Yeah, now.
And I don't know, I really don't understand how Vine wasn't able to like capitalize on videos that were longer than 6 seconds.
I mean, that was just the start of it. I don't think they realized. They didn't really realize how great that is, maybe. Did they get bought out?
I think eventually, yes, but they still couldn't like keep up after they were bought out. But either way, we saw the rise and even fall of a lot of these social media sites, whereas like a lot of the kids today, they grew up with it. You got to think about it. Some kids ended up getting their first iPhone as their first phone. You know what I'm saying? They got one of the earlier iPhones as their first phone, where my first cell phone was a hand-me-down flip phone. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up getting it like a month or two before 9/11 happened, because it was just, it was something that I needed. I was in middle school at the time.
Right. It's different nowadays, bro. It's like they can't even get away from the technology.
Boy.
Even schools, I know people that parents, they don't allow their kids to have any type of phones or anything, but apparently in school they have to have a laptop. They give you a laptop now. Like, that's kind of,
I've seen that. Like,
wow.
Students in school with laptops and stuff.
Yeah, because they have digital learning days.
Boy.
You know what I mean? Like, it's different, bro. It's different. So
And we used to get in trouble for having tech out in the classroom. Like, you couldn't just walk in a classroom with our cell phones and we'll put out a phone in class and, without getting in trouble. Or, put your phone away. I'm going to take it. You got to get your parent to come up and get it back.
Like, I remember when technology used to be it used to be a class. Technology wasn't something that you just walk around with. It was a class where it was in a room. You didn't go around with technology. It was in a room and you learn it. And then you leave that room and that's it. Now technology is wherever you go. It's a big difference, man. It's a big difference. So, man, I pray for these kids, man, because I understand. But I do want some of these tech companies to take a responsibility. In the Senate hearing that Mark Zuckerberg had to be in, he had to apologize to the families. Now, granted, it wasn't the most sincere apology, but that was the first time I saw like people come together and like call out somebody and say, yo, you need to do something. And this man, he apologized. He sounded like a robot. I'm not gonna hold you. But he apologized to some of these families who were impacted. But I mean, what can you, I don't really know what you can do, bro. I don't really know if it's kind of too late or if, because you gotta think about it, bro. We're coming into more technology. I don't know if you saw, but these Apple headsets about to come out. And that's about to replace.
They're already out,
bro. That's about to replace.
They've been out, and I've heard that too. I heard somebody say that these. I think it's called Vision Pro, or something like that. But yeah, somebody said that they eventually were going to replace phones.
This time that we're living in, we have a lot of technological advantages. Yes, it is a good thing, but it's also pushing us further from actually writing and communicating. They just came out with the what's it called, the Apple Vision
Yes, I saw someone who wore those to his wedding.
Imagine like in the future, everybody has that. We're just walking with those goggles on.
Have you seen Ready Player One?
Yes.
It's just like that movie.
For a day-to-day social life. Isn't that kind of scary?
I think that we need to go outside and touch some grass, and we need to stop relying on all the technology. It's really dystopian. We have water that's disappearing. We have people starving, and all people care about is some fancy technology glasses. I mean, it's scary that so many people are standing behind this technology movement. It really is frightening.
They're about to replace the phone, bro. I can see it. Right now, it's just at a point where kind of like, how when big screen TVs are very new and they're really expensive, but then eventually that size is going to go down to a more reasonable price.
Right, because the original big screen TVs were huge.
You know what I mean?
Them hoes was fat.
You know what I mean?
Expensive. And that was back when they had like the tubes that went in the televisions and stuff like that.
Exactly.
There was no LEDs.
Nope.
No LEDs, no OLED, no AMOLED.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? It was straight like they had tubing inside the TVs. The TVs were thick. Mm-hmm. They were big screens, but they were like fat on the sides. Like it took multiple people to move them things. And of course, some of them had wheels on it where you can drag it. Some of them didn't have wheels. It was like, good luck trying to drag it.
Yep.
But yeah.
Now it's like,
they were expensive back then, and then as the plasma TVs came out, the flat screen TVs came out, they got bigger, but they were also thinner.
Yep.
The screens were wider, but the TVs themselves were thinner.
Yep.
Some of them now, they look like paintings on a wall.
Yep.
And they're that thin. It's just so crazy how far technology has come.
Yep.
Even to the point to where now, like, I think the largest flat screen TV that I've seen, I want to say was 98 inches.
I believe it, man. I mean, that's just where we're headed, bro. So Apple's about to take over with those. I don't even know what you call them. Apple headset? Is that what it is?
They're like goggles. They're goggles that you put on your face, and it pretty much has the same interface as your cell phone. So the user that's watching, the user that's using the goggles, you can use your hands, like all the information, all the apps and stuff are floating in front of you when you have those goggles on. And it uses, I guess, your eyes to kind of like see where your eyes are going. And of course, uses the motion, I guess maybe through AR technology. I don't know. I haven't really done too much research on it, but I've seen videos where people are wearing the goggles and then they use their hands and they'll swipe as if they're swiping on the screen, but they're really swiping air.
Yeah, that's it.
And it'll, be able to like touch different apps and access photos, and you can even watch movies with these goggles, and it'll play like, you can make the screen kind of as big as you want to, and it'll play audio through the headsets because it's close to your ears, close enough to your ear to where you feel like you're immersed in whatever it is that you're watching.
That's what we headed, bro.
And it's somewhat portable to where I think it's attached to a battery pack that you carry around, so you can just go anywhere with it. And I think maybe eventually, just like kind of like how the TVs go, because I mean, these goggles are huge right now. Like, they're physically huge, but eventually in time, they're going to get smaller. They're going to get thinner. They're going to get more comfortable, and they may have a battery in the actual goggles to where you don't have to worry about carrying around a battery pack anymore.
It's all coming with due time, bro. With due time, they just gonna learn it. They learning what people like, what they don't like, what works and what don't work. I just gotta be careful, man. We're turning into zombies out here. We're turning into zombies.
Yeah, and when those replace phones, a bunch of us are gonna be walking around with things on our faces, and
it's like you're not seeing real life no more.
And it's crazy because you know how a lot of people walk around with their phones in their hand, they're just walking and looking at their phones at the same time. Some people have tripped and fallen and stuff like that because they're not paying attention. Now, imagine what's going to happen when you have those headsets and you're just walking around, not really paying attention to the world in front of you, but you're paying attention to, like, you could literally be looking straight ahead, but you're looking at your apps and you're looking at photos. And you may be watching a video while you're walking.
It's interesting, bro. Don't go look at that movie, man. Don't look up. I think that speaks a lot to that right there. Kind of in the future. Lord have mercy. Save us.
Please do.
But I mean, kind of, I guess, to elaborate more on, this topic, and something I wanted to just, I guess, talk about a little bit more, because I feel like this is probably part of the reasons why we may have seen some of these kids do some of the things that that has happened to them. It's not all these tech billionaires' fault. I promise you. They are exposing these kids early to like the world, but I think that we have to understand that peer pressure is a real thing. Peer pressure is something that is evident, and it can take lives if you're not careful.
Right.
I'll say the definition first, and I want to say something. Peer pressure is the influence from members of one's peers group. His behavior was, as an example, his behavior was affected by drink and peer pressure. That's one of the things they said. But I remember in high school that was still something that was prevalent. Peer pressure, you got to do something just because you see other people doing it or whatnot. And I think that I remember in high school it was tough to deal with, but we could go to school and then have to deal with that. But then we get on the bus, you might have some people on the bus you have to deal with a little bit more. But then you can kind of go home and get away from it. Now I think it's a little bit tougher because it might be all on social media. You might go to school, deal with it, and then you get home. Now you got to deal with it all online, and some kids may not know how to cut certain things off. And I think that they're carrying peer pressure maybe with them a little bit more than what we may have. So I think that is something that should be talked about a little bit more.
Yeah.
What is your take on peer pressure?
Peer pressure is something that's been along for a long time, and it's affected many generations. First, when you even mentioned it, the first thing that came to my mind is like all these movies and TV shows going as far back as maybe even the 80s, talking about, like high school kind of movies. I can't think of any titles off the top of my head right now, but one of the main themes of a lot of these teenage movies from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s was getting laid before graduation. And it said something about the culture in America, in those high school years. If you're a virgin and you're in high school, you may be a high school junior, high school senior, whatever the case may be. If you're still a virgin, you're not cool. You know what I'm saying? You're a loser, you're lame, whatever it is that you want to call it. So you got to make sure you lose your virginity by any means necessary, essentially, before graduation, so you can be a part of the cool kids club. I think that might have been, I don't remember. I mean, I saw this movie when I was a teenager. Obviously not while it was in theaters, because I was born in the 80s, but I didn't grow up in the 80s. I was born at the tail end. But I think The Breakfast Club, the movie The Breakfast Club, with Molly Ringwald, I forgot who else was in it, but I think that movie might have had some themes of like, losing your virginity before graduation, and even movies that I grew up watching, like Not Another Teen Movie, which spoofed The Breakfast Club and a lot of other teenage pop culture movies. That was a huge theme in that movie, losing your virginity before graduation. So that's one thing I think that's definitely pushed on the youth through media when it comes to maybe even teen drinking, because every movie involving teens, from like I Know What You Did Last Summer, or I don't even know. I don't really watch movies like I used to. And even if I do, it's like Marvel stuff. But, you know, teen drinking was definitely prevalent in a lot of those movies. Partaking in what some people call the devil's lettuce. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's prevalent in those movies. You know what I'm saying? Smoking weed.
Nah, that's real though.
You know what I'm saying? That's heavily influenced. And even growing up in the 90s, I remember that there was a campaign that was out. It was called DARE, D-A-R-E. And each letter stood for something. What it stood for, I don't remember. But it was like an anti-drug campaign. And they would have a lot of these commercials against like smoking weed and stuff like that, you know, when you're a kid, because why would you do that? They made all this stuff look so bad. And I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying that. Don't quote me. I'm not saying that. But peer pressure is a thing, because anything that people say is not good for you, peer pressure is pretty much going to say that it is good for you. Oh, you should try this. You should do this. You know, it ain't gonna hurt you. It ain't no thing. Like, you'll be one of us. You'll be with the cool kids, or whatever the case may be. Whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's after graduation, peer pressure is still around. I mean, even adults, I'm sure, get peer pressured into stuff they don't want to do.
That's a fact, bro. Everything you said was a fact. I think another thing that we get peer pressured on is trying to fit in, as far as like, I remember in high school, and they still do it now, but just clothes and shoes.
Yeah.
If you're not wearing this name brand, people are going to talk about you.
Boy, the
like
amount of times people wanted to check tags.
Like, just, you know, and it's like people, you can really put somebody down. They might not even be able to afford it or whatnot, but like, you go in there thinking you fresh, and then everybody like, nah, you ain't got these, and they make you think that what you got on is worthless. And it peer pressures you into either going out and buy it, or you don't even want to go to school because you like, oh man, everybody gonna talk about me.
Right.
And that's not good. So I think that one thing that you have to realize, and this is one of the things I taught myself when I was in high school, is that I don't really care to go with the flow. I truly want to become a flow. Anytime I remember being in school, I never cared about having the latest brands. Don't get me wrong, I did have brands, but I didn't care if what I wore was a knockoff. I did not care, because to me, it's you make the clothes. Regardless of the matter is, you can have them clothes on the shelves, and no clothes don't mean nothing until you put it on. So when I really realized that you are the one who gives everything that you put on value, don't ever let anyone else around you make you think any less of that, because you give everything value.
Oh, yeah, man.
You know what I mean? So don't let people think otherwise.
There was a time where I was in middle school, and I remember I used to wear name brand stuff. Like, I've always been into Jordans, you know, Jordan sneakers, Nike sneakers, whatever the case may be. Growing up, I've always been into that. But when it came to my clothes, it's like sometimes I wore knockoff stuff. Nobody cared, but you know, nobody could really tell. But as I mentioned a little while ago, it's like some people would really want to check the tag in the shirt. Like, oh, that's Rockaway. Let me see the tag.
Yeah.
As if you some sort of authenticator.
Like, bro, just so they can talk about you. Like, that's it, bro. Come on now. So
yeah, that's something that I'm sure they still do in school now.
Yeah. And one thing you gotta realize, and this is something I learned, all them people I used to look up to in high school, bro, it's weird, but in the end, if you just stay true to who you are, some of those people, they end up looking up to you. And that's the weird part. So don't even, you know.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the people who were like, for lack of a better word, some of the people who were the shit in high school, they ain't shit now.
Bruh. Like,
there's no lie. They were the shit back then, but they ain't shit now.
Come on now. Maybe was the freshest there always, right? But what are they doing now? And you people, they be watching you. I'm telling you, it's so
losers now, like straight up losers now. They ain't doing nothing with their lives.
Man.
Some of the guys that were like the coolest back then, they got multiple baby mamas now, and
Man, look at
you
this,
know,
bro.
stuck on child support.
Right. So stop trying to fit in, bro. That's I guess that's one of the main topics. Don't worry about if you don't fit in. The right people will be around you, man. And that's what you just gotta remember. Don't feel the need to fit in and do what people do, bro. Like be you. Be you, because that's gonna carry, believe it or not, if you learn it now, it's gonna carry to your adult life. If you feel like you gotta fit in, you're gonna feel like you always gotta fit in.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I feel like I had to fit in, I would have never cared to even approach me about starting a podcast, because in my mind, I would have been like, everybody got a podcast. Everybody's already doing this. You know what I mean? It's too late. Like, I would have listened to something dumb like that. Come on now. What?
And you see where we are now.
Look at this, bro. People, what?
People always talking about it to this day. It's like, yo, everybody got a podcast. The market is oversaturated.
Yes.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It really just depends on, first of all, it depends on your niche market.
Yep.
Right? It depends on who your audience is, what it is that you're talking about,
Yep.
who you're speaking to.
Yep.
Then it also depends on the type of reach you're able to accumulate.
Yep.
Because, yeah, I mean, I listen to many different podcasts every single week. You know, they never thought that the market was saturated, even though some of the podcasts that I listen to, they've been around for years.
And there's some podcasts that he be putting me on to that I never even heard of until he says something about it. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I didn't even know they do this. And then I'm watching them now. You know what I mean? And I think people do the same thing with us.
Yep.
So
y'all better.
You know what I mean? But look at what it's done for us too. It's brought us indoors and given us opportunity, and look at where we at now because of it. So like, I think that don't fall for any peer pressure or anything like that in your life, or don't let people talk you out of doing something because they don't want to do it. Things like that.
So peer pressure, man, that's it's one hell of a drug, I will say. I'll put it that way, because I've known some people who were talked into some crazy things regarding peer pressure. One of which, again, I'll take it back to like losing your virginity as a teenager. I'll never forget this one girl I used to date. Like, I will say she was my first love, right? Mm-hmm. So I met her when I was 14. She was 13. And then we stopped kind of like talking together. We stopped messing with each other when we were 23. Mm-hmm. We were born in the same year, but just a few months apart. So the last time like we had some significant contact was in October 2012. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we pretty much, we've known each other for years. But when we were teenagers, like months after we first met, mm-hmm. I remember she was my first a lot of things. And I was her first a lot of things. And it got to a point to where we ended up going from middle school to high school, and we didn't see each other every day because we went to different schools now. And I was hanging out with her after school one day. I was in 10th grade. She was in 9th grade. And she pulls a condom out of her backpack.
Oh.
Yeah. She pulled a condom out of her backpack. And she thought it was time.
Where'd she get that from?
Right. That was my thought. That's where I was going with that. We were young teenagers. We can't just go to the corner store and buy a condom.
No.
We didn't even look like adults.
No.
So where did she get that from? And it turns out that she ended up getting it from somebody who we went to middle school with, who was in the same grade as her, who ironically was the girl who gave me my first kiss. So somebody who had messed with me in the past, you know what I'm saying? I guess she was just like, hey, you know, they were going to the same school at the time, and they were like having a conversation about us. And next thing you know, she says, here, use this. Mm-hmm. Granted, her mind was kind of in a good place because she was thinking about being safe when she handed her a rubber. But it's like, yo, you moving a little too fast, because I was not ready to do any of that just yet. And we didn't end up, you know, sealing the deal and doing the deed till we were 17. Mm-hmm. So it took years for us to get to that point, but I was shocked, man. It's like, where did you get a condom from, and why? What? You know, I was over her place. Her parents weren't home. perfect setting. You know what I'm saying? But like, we didn't really have those conversations about getting it in just yet.
No.
But peer pressure from this other young lady that I used to mess with before her, and maybe other people who were involved in the conversation. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't go to the same high school that they went to. But it was just, that was crazy to me. Like, that was one of the first times that I personally have experienced peer pressure. And it wasn't even peer pressure on me. It was peer pressure on her.
Comes in different forms and different ways, man. I think we all have ability. I think we all have had that moment of peer pressure and having to navigate through it. So, I mean, I did look up, according to Google, some ways to potentially overcome peer pressure. And just ways as to how to say no. You got to know what's right. Trust your own feelings and what about what's right and wrong. So just basically having a good moral compass, and just, it's always like a feeling in the inside. I think that when you're faced with like a peer pressure moment, that's like, maybe I should turn around. You want to also have a friend who will stand with you. It can really help when you have someone, at least one person, other peer who is willing to say no. So have someone that can really be like, nah, bro, I don't think that's it. So you got to have it. It pays to have a leader around you, someone who doesn't necessarily have to go with every trend and thing that everyone else does.
Right.
It says walk away or get advice from an adult. The walk away is a big one, but I know sometimes it's tougher. I mean, that's not always the easiest thing to do being in school. You can't just walk away if you're in a classroom with somebody. You might have homeroom. I can't walk away from you. We in the same homeroom. But I think there's ways that you can avoid somebody, or like I said, what they said, you are powerless without my reaction. So someone can't do anything if you don't react. They're literally powerless. So just remember that. You don't have to respond, or get an advice from an adult. Like B's an adult. He's a well-seasoned adult.
You're an adult too.
He's getting a little bit on the on the latter end of life.
Bro, we're only like 2.5 years apart.
And so he has a lot of wisdom to give. I'm gonna get him a cane really soon for it. It's upcoming.
Stop the cap.
He's getting up there. But just get an advice from an adult.
Anyway, clearly Mike's not mature enough to be an adult mentally anyway. But we're only 2.5 years apart. He is an adult as well, although he may not act like it. So I guess if you're going to seek advice from any adult, I mean, he is pretty wise at times, even though he's not the most mature person on the planet. But yeah, I guess I give off those vibes is that I'm really mature. So yeah, we can stick with that.
Appreciate that.
Shut up.
But no, in all seriousness, man, I think just peer pressure in general is something that we should take more serious, because you have people taking their lives. And I don't ever want to hear about someone cutting their life short because of something that someone else said. Regardless of the matter is, you control this thing that's up here.
Man.
You control it. You control what goes in it, what goes out. You will not let anybody into your house, so don't let just any thought into your mind. Be vigilant and understand that you have that power to say no.
And that reminds me, like I feel like I have a story for everything. Mm-hmm. But this is, of course, stuff that I went through personally. I remember in 10th grade, actually, I don't even remember if it was 10th or 11th. It was so long ago. It might have been 11th. But either way, I was in high school, and there was this guy in my homeroom class. I believe his name was Ramald. I don't remember how you spell it, but I just know that it was a brother, young black man. I remember he had a fro and glasses. Very quiet, very chill, very misunderstood guy. I think he was one of those guys that would watch Toonami, play video games. He was like an outcast, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't one of the popular guys. Definitely didn't play sports or anything like that. He really stuck to him. He stayed to himself. Anyway, there were times I remember I used to, say hello to him, try to talk to him, whatever, try to get him out of that shell, because I like to talk to people. But we were never friends or anything like that. One morning we came in, the whole class came in for homeroom, about to start the day, and the principal was in the room. And we were all like, why is Mr. Hallman here? Why is he here? What is he doing here? And it turns out that he was there to deliver the unfortunate news that Ramal took his life. I think we were 14 or 15 years old, and this young brother took his life because, like I said, I mean, I personally think it was because he was an outcast. Like, he was very quiet. Nobody really talked to him. He might have had people trying to get in his head or trying to bully him. I don't know. I don't know all the things that he went through. I just remember he was a very quiet guy. He only really spoke in class when he was spoken to, or if he had to answer a question in class, if the teacher called on him or something like that. But otherwise, he was very quiet. He never wanted to hang out, or he never really hung out with anybody. And I don't know, man. It's just he might have. I guess he thought the only way out of everything that he had been going through was taking his own life. But maybe he had some intrusive thoughts in his head. Maybe somebody got into his head and got to him and maybe peer pressured him into doing it. I don't know. But you just never know what anybody's going through. Like Mike said, man, you may need to have a friend who will stand with you. Ramal, from my memory, didn't seem to have any of those friends. So just be careful out there, guys. And, no matter how young you are, no matter how old you are, check on your strong friends, check on your quiet friends, check on people around you, because you never know what they're going through.
That's real. That's real. So yeah, I think that we pretty much have like discussed on what it is and different ways to try to overcome it and our own experience, and maybe and hopefully you can take something and just take a piece of it and incorporate it in your life to avoid some of these things that we've seen and that we've heard of, so that you don't make the same mistakes, because it is real. And we just want y'all to avoid some of those pitfalls, and that's why we created this channel. So, B, I mean, if you have anything else that you wanted to share with the people, I mean, I feel like I've given them what I've wanted to give them as far as this topic goes.
I will say the only thing that I have to think about, or really to give, is just please pay attention to this brick situation that's going on. Pay attention to what we talked about in the beginning, as far as these billionaires and millionaires claiming that they're building bunkers underneath their homes. We didn't bring that up just to bring it up. I can't really speak for Mike, but I mean, I'm sure since he included it in this episode because it was his idea, I'm sure he understands that, something's going on. And it's come to a point to where these people are talking about it for a reason. These millionaires, these billionaires are discussing it for a reason. There was a time where Elon Musk and I think, what's the dude from Amazon? Jeff Bezos. I should know that. I used to work for him. Anyway, Elon Musk, and there were talks of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Somebody was saying about how they were like building spaceships to go to the moon or go to Mars or something like that, because something was potentially coming. I don't know if that was true or not, but we don't know if any of this stuff is true. We don't have the same type of money that they have, so we can't necessarily afford to do everything that they can do. However, I'm sure they all know that something is going on, and I think we as the public, as the civilians of the world, need to understand that something may be coming. So just be prepared. That's all I have to say.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Well, y'all already know. We can't leave without saying this.
Oh, before we do that, I'm so sorry.
No, you good. I
will say that it just popped in my head. I think I remember. I remember seeing a video. I know Wall Street Trapper was talking about this brick situation. I think he was talking to David Shands. Whatever's going on behind the scenes, I think Wall Street Trapper, who's of course very into finances and of course what's going on with Wall Street, and he knows quite a bit of what's going on with this brick situation. He said whatever's going to happen or whatever is happening, it probably will not take effect for another decade or so.
The goal is for them to create another currency where the dollar isn't as dominant. What I need people to understand is that doesn't happen in a year. That doesn't happen in 3 years. That has to happen in a decade. You will not wake up tomorrow and your dollar ain't no good no more. But what happens is you got people that's pushing that. It ought to be over with soon. 15 years from now.
All right.
20, if that happens. Yeah. What I don't be understanding is people in America saying, America about to fall. We have a traumatic relationship with America. But where else you gonna go live at, fam? People don't want you in none of them other countries, fam.
Yeah.
So you won't see America fall so bad, but where you going? But America is a mixture of capitalism and socialism. But capitalism says that you can be broke and you come here and you can be a millionaire. Mm-hmm. You can't do that in a lot of countries. Yeah. You barely making it here.
Mm-hmm. It's not to say that it's going to happen tomorrow. It's not to say that it's going to happen next year. It could take 10 years. It could take 15 years. But still, get prepared. That's all I have to say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
For
sir.
sure.
Well, y'all already know we can't leave without saying where you are today.
Is a residual outcome.
Or the thoughts that you had in the past.
Straight like that.
Till the next time.
We love you guys.
Yes,
Thank you so much for tapping in. We greatly appreciate you. It goes a long way. Don't forget, sponsorship. And we're looking for editors to hire.
Yes, sir.
Serious inquiries only.
Please, residualimpactpodcast@gmail.com.
And with that being said, peace.